I am so excited to talk to you guys today. Quick disclaimer, everything I cover today is just educational purposes only. I'm not telling you what to do. Yeah, that's it. Everything on here is educational purposes only. Anything that you do in the stock market is at your own risk. And I'm just excited to teach. So today I actually made $259,000 trading in the stock market, and I actually made it on Visa. And Visa is one of my babies. I love me some Visa. It it has taken a long time though for it to start working right. Up until most of last year, it was not working right. It was like falling. And you can actually make money when it falls too. So right now I have orders going both ways. If it goes up, I make money. If it comes down, I make money. But today, it went well and I made some money going up. Thank you. Oh, good. So people are like, congratulations. Thank you. I actually was a little disappointed. Y'all know I've made like seven figures in a day. So 259 is like, okay, that's great. But it was a good day. You got to be happy for every win and every loss. But today, we're going to talk about what to look for in a broker. All right. So, drum roll. We had a lot of my students sign up for this challenge. And I'm going to just tell you right now, y'all might be a little mad at me after this section because I've done some research and I might be changing my mind about the broker that I recommend. I know. So there is a company called stockbroker.com. And actually, let me pull them up so that you can see where this is coming from. Broker. They just put out their newest annual report. Do it like this. And I actually have this link for you guys already loaded, but I was going to try to pull it up here. I'll come back to this and actually show you the article. But they have a report that just came out. If you look up here, January 26, 2022. So it literally came out about 5 days ago, actually 4 days ago, right? And they decided what the best brokers are in the market. And as they say, like if you want to buy a share of Apple, Facebook, Netflix, whatever, then you need to set up a trading account with an online broker. Every stock trading platform is unique. And I know you guys can read, but I'm reading this out loud just so that I can show you and point out some stuff. And now with every broker offering 0% stock and ETF trades, deciding which one to use comes down to differences in the overall trading experience, investment options, trading tools, highlight trading tools. This is going to be really big for us. As we're looking at what broker to sign up for, this one was a big one for me. Market research, we don't need market research as much as traders because we use charts. And so we need more charting technology than market research from our broker. Okay. Also, a lot of our market research is going to come from CNBC, which is a different app outside of your broker. Then beginner education, you guys have beginner education with trade and travel, but customer service, highlight this too. This was huge for me. So when I'm thinking about like what to talk to you all about, it was like it was down to the last minute of what I would tell you all to do in terms of opening an account. The things that were most important to me were these trading tools and then customer service. And then ease of use is also good, but I think that this one is not as important when you have someone teaching you. So if I'm teaching you how to use it and what to press and what to click on, then ease of use is not as important as making sure that you get the best prices and that you get the best tools. All right. So, dun, dun, dun. Who did they say? Here it is. So here are the top 5 that they chose. They chose Fidelity. And this is a big change. Now, I'll tell y'all the truth. When I was actually, let me go through the list and then I'll tell you guys some things. So they had Fidelity as number 1, and they said that was best overall and best for beginners. Then TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, Charles Schwab, and Interactive Brokers. Those were the ones that they chose. Oh, good. And hey, Angela and Stacy, I heard that both of you guys are on. Hey, guys, welcome. But these are the top 5 that they chose. And I'm relying on them because like they do so much research and this annual report just came out. So these are the top 5 that I also recommend. But as part of our homework, I'm going to send you all this link. Underneath it, they talk about 10 other online brokers that they did not choose for the top 5. And one of those is actually one that I used to use, or that I use even now with my students. So that's why I said, ooh, drum roll, because I think some things might be changing, and I'm going to tell you why. And for all the students, don't worry. I'm going to talk to you guys in our course as well about this. So this is where I was saying I wanted to talk to you guys about like then versus now. Back in the day when I first did my course, this is what the pricing looked like. And this is just in 2018. So only 4 years ago, pricing used to look like this. Every time you entered and exited a trade, you actually had to pay. And Fidelity was bragging that they were the best one then because look, they only charged $4.95 to get into a trade and $4.95 to get out of a trade, versus E-Trade and Charles Schwab and Vanguard. Like these were the prices that it cost them. This is also one of the reasons why there was a barrier to entry before. Sometimes people would say like, it costs too much to trade. You shouldn't be an active investor because of the fees. This is what they were talking about. Every time you took a trade, it ended up being, this is actually $10 because you have to pay $5 to get in and $5 to get out. This would have been $14, right? $7 to get in, $7 to get out. And those fees can eat away at your profit. But now with everybody in 2020 moving to zero cost, this is what it looks like. Now you got TD Ameritrade is at zero for online trades, E-Trade, and Fidelity. And you might wonder, what happened to Charles Schwab? Actually, Charles Schwab bought TD Ameritrade. So they're actually under the same umbrella. Although in that, like in the 5 list of the top 5, they did still have Charles Schwab and TD. But for our purposes as traders, TD Ameritrade is more of the trading platform than Charles Schwab. Okay. But now everything's gone to $0. So under pricing, they're all about even. I will say though, there are some differences with options trading. And you guys be careful of clicking on the screen. And thank you for staying on mute. Stocks is $0, but most of the brokers still charge for options trading. So you'll see that there are some brokers that will even have a bigger push towards options trading because that's where they actually can make some money. So you'll see here, this is actually from E-Trade. So E-Trade is 0 commissions for stocks, but then they do charge for options and they do charge for futures and bonds. Okay.
Teri, can you explain how it says 0 for options, but then there's a fee for options contracts? What's the difference?
It is, not sure who was trying to call me. Here, you know what? Honestly, I wouldn't even look at options here. This might have been a mistake. It's probably not a mistake on their side, but I'm not sure what why they have it here under 0. Because for options trading is done with contracts. So when you're doing options trading, you would still be under here. Only reason I could think here is if they had some kind of discount or sale. To do the 0. And I don't know, like with the 1, I didn't put that into the slide. but good question. But usually when you're trading options contracts at any broker, you're going to have to pay for that. The one that I currently use now is TradeStation. And they were giving us a discount at one point and it had gone down to 50 cents, but it's still closer to 60 cents. Mm-hmm. Here is usually just stocks and then ETFs. So I'm not quite sure why they have that there. Here's one other thing, though, that I do want to talk to you about with pricing. So this is, and the reason I'm pausing is because it's kind of hard to explain, but it's really, really important. One of the reasons why people don't like Robinhood, and you haven't seen them anywhere in this presentation, is because they lag on their order execution. So the price that you get when you take a trade is different than the actual price that you actually get executed for. What does that mean? So let's say that I take a trade in TD Ameritrade and then someone takes a trade in Robinhood. There might be a couple cents difference between what Robinhood gives because they lag. The reason why is because a lot of their money comes from payment for order flow. And that's why one of the things in the article you're going to read, it talked about how Fidelity has one of the lowest fees because they don't do payment for order flow. What payment for order flow is literally the company is selling your orders, and then there's a small millisecond before your order is executed, and they upcharge you. It might be just a few cents or even a fraction of a couple cents. But your price is not exactly the same price or the best price that could have been taken. Does that make sense? So on a bigger scale, what it could look like is I press the button to enter the trade at $5 and I get it, but they give it to me at $5.05. That might sound small, but if you have a lot of stock, then that can really mess up your order or mess up your profit. But that's how they're making their money. That little slippage, that little difference between where you entered and where you actually got filled, they're making money off of that. That's payment for order flow. Robinhood does that, which is one of the reasons why they're usually not one of the top brokers, because they're not giving you the best price. Okay. Oh. Let me come back in. Sorry. So the big things that we're looking at are pricing. And then the next thing that we go into is location. So if you're international, a lot of my students are international. The next thing that you're going to look at is what brokers can I use? Interactive Brokers is international, and then also TD. TD for Canadian students, they don't call it TD Ameritrade. It's just called TD. You can use TD and Interactive Brokers in Canada. And then for the UK, they have a couple other brokers as well. I know TradeStation still works for them. And you can see here, Interactive Brokers works for Europe. And yes.
Why can't I hear you?
Can other people hear me?
Okay. All right.
Yes. Okay, thank you. But yes, if you're anywhere looking here at the map, if you're in Europe or lower parts of Asia or Australia, Interactive Brokers can reach you. They're one of the best for international students. So I'm putting that out there for them. And then another thing is customer service. That's going to be super important as well. And this should actually say customer service. But one of the things that I wanted to point out is if you look over here at E-Trade, they lack in customer service. So where it says reps available 24/7, right now they do say that they're available, but a lot of times that's the biggest complaint that I get from E-Trade is customer service. So if you are someone who's thinking I want to be able to talk to people, I want them to answer my call, then this one may not work. So here it says access to trading strategy experts or virtual coaching sessions, they don't have that. Okay. But one thing that they do have, and this is E-Trade, I'm just giving you guys a couple pros and cons of several different brokers. One thing they do have is really cool account types. So if you look down here, there's this custodial account, and it actually allows you to have an account for a minor. So if you're thinking, I want to open something for my kids, I want them to be able to trade, you can open it as a parent and you can manage their account. Several of the brokerage accounts have that, but this is something to consider. Like, do they have the account type that I'm looking for? One other one that I think is important is a joint account. A joint account allows you to have you and someone else on your account so that if you pass away, they automatically get access without having to pay taxes. This is something when I was looking at TD Ameritrade recently, this is something that they actually put up front and center. Do you want an individual account or do you want a joint with rights of, it's like WROS, with the rights to have ownership moved after you die? I don't know how, I don't I don't know the acronyms, but I know that's what it means, right? So that's actually a really good account as well. I have one of those set up with me and my mom. If something were to happen to me, then everything would go to my mom. But the good thing is she won't have to pay taxes on any of it. So that's another account that you can open, a joint account. If you're in a relationship or even have kids or parents that you want your account to go to without them having to pay taxes, look at a joint account. Okay. All right. Moving on. So of the 5, I will tell you, I have had Fidelity before and I've had E-Trade, and most of the things in my school, we've used we use TradeStation, but I just recently opened, because for this competition, I wanted to also open a new account. I just recently opened a TD Ameritrade account. And I do want to show you, it's super easy. It took me like 15 minutes max to open it, and everything in it was very intuitive. So because we said in this challenge, one of the things is by the end of this, you'll have an account open. Let me show you what that could potentially look like for you. And I don't have an affiliate with any of these companies, so you can have an account with any of them. I think all of these top 5 are good. Okay. But I'm just going to show you what this looks like so that you don't feel like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what this is going to look like. So here, so you go to TD Ameritrade. And then here where it says open an account online, here's where I was telling you that we talked about the different types of accounts. So yesterday when I was opening up one, I did individual, but here's the one, WROS. Yep. It says with rights of survivorship. That's what it stood for. But the joint account here is where someone else can be on the account, but they don't have to pay taxes. Traditional IRA and Roth IRA, if you want to do a retirement account, this is actually a really good idea for people who are investing, but you don't want to pay taxes yet. You can roll over your old retirement accounts from your job into a IRA, and these are going to be self-directed IRAs. So you could either start a new traditional IRA, or you can roll over one from your job in this rollover IRA and then start trading that money, but it will be tax-free until you actually move it. When I first started and decided that I was going to quit my job, I did this. I took all the money from my old retirements, put it into a self-directed traditional IRA, and then I traded with that and became good. And then when I quit my job as assistant principal, I moved it to a cash account so that I could keep trading it. Honestly, looking back, I would have just kept it in the IRA, because then as that account grew, I still wouldn't have to pay taxes on it until I'm older. So that's a good option. Here with this joint/minor, looks like they also have some minor accounts. I didn't look into these as deep, but you can. But as you're looking, I would do something simple. If you're just wanting to start quick and go fast, you could do this individual account, or you could even do the joint account. But I believe the person who you sign with will have to actually sign as too. So it'll take you a little longer to open that account. Now, these steps are super easy and super fast. I'm not going to go through each one here, but I'm just going to show you that it's easy, because this is going to be your homework for today. So you go through, you put in all of your information. You don't need to download, or it says download an application instead. You don't need to do that. Just keep filling this out and then go all the way through these steps. And then yes.
Can I ask a question really quick? On the previous screen, would both joint parties have to pay the taxes if there's a gain?
Good question. You'll have to ask the CPA on that, but I believe the answer is no. I think just the person who's the main holder will pay the taxes.
Okay, thank you.
Teri, can I ask a question, please?
Actually, pause for a second. Let me finish this and then we'll go to questions because I'm almost done. Thank you, though. So in this part, you go all the way through here. You're going to go to agreements. But one thing that I do want to tell you is once you finish, you're going to get to a page and it's going to say, all right, now let's fund your account. Because TD Ameritrade, I will say, was super fast. But once you fund your account, it'll say what type of account do you want. And it has two options at the top. And I'm sorry I can't show you this because you have to actually go through all the steps. But I did it so that I can tell you. At the top, it'll say, do you want a margin account, options, or do you want a cash account? I want you to click that you want margin and options trading. You don't even need to use them, but it's better to have that account set up now than to wait till later. So when you go through these steps, you'll have an account open. It'll say fund the account, and then it'll say what type of account. You want margin and you want options trading available. What is margin? Margin is just the bank will give you extra buying power. It's like a line of credit. So, and here, let me stop sharing for a second. So for margin with the line of credit, one of the things like at TradeStation, it gives you 4 times your buying power. So if I put in $2,000, I actually get to trade with $8,000. I don't always use that, but it's good that it's there. Another thing that's important about that is it allows me to trade faster because in a cash account, if you sell a trade, you have to wait 3 to 5 business days for that money to get back in your account. So if you're trying to make money every day and you got to wait 3 days, it's going to be really hard for you to reach your goals. In a margin account, when you sell the trade, it'll be there for you the very next day. Okay. Also, later on in trade and travel, if you ever want to make money when the market falls, that's also called short selling, but it can only be done in a margin account. So this is just setting you up so that you'll have more tools down the line to do. Go ahead and it's just a checkbox, check margin. And then for options trading, options are 100 shares of a stock at a time. Again, in the very beginning with just the beginners that you're doing now, you won't need that. But it's good to check it now so that later you don't have to try to get a new account. All right. One other thing, and take notes on this because I don't have the picture in front of you, but when you get there, I want you to be able to do it. It's going to also ask you for how long you've been trading and what your experience is. One of the brokers, I work with TradeStation, and I talked to them a while back, and they were educating me on what to talk to my students about. One of the things they said is you can include any retirement trading or retirement investing in those years of experience. So if you have a 401k or someone was investing for you, you can still include that in your years of experience. That's really crucial, guys, because if you think like, oh, well, I just started trading, so I'm going to put 0 years, then you won't get approved to do a lot of different things as a trader down the road. Like for options, you have to have certain years of experience. So make sure that you include all those years of someone else investing with you as well. Okay, that's important. Trying to think anything else there. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. When you get to the page that talks about like, do you know someone that works for FINRA or works for the banks? Just be honest. The answer is most likely no. Most likely you don't have any ties to a financial institution. However, you know if you do. So if your job is at Goldman, then you know that you know what you have to press. So just be mindful of that, okay? But it's really easy. It didn't take me long. It took me about 15 minutes to open the account. The next thing was funding it, but you could just easily attach that to a bank account. And then that's it. So today, as we talk about the best things or opening a brokerage account, personally, I decided to try something new. Like I said, okay, I see Ashwin, he's already asking about TradeStation. I decided to try something new. And so for this challenge, I decided to open an account with TD Ameritrade. I feel like I'm like announcing my like marriage or something. Like I decided. But I think that that's a good option. But any of those are good. Interactive brokers, if you're international, Fidelity is the number one. And I just I haven't worked with them in a while. So that maybe next time I do a challenge, I'll try a Fidelity account. All of them now have paper trading too. Back in the day, not everybody had paper trading, but now all of those have paper trading, including interactive brokers, including Fidelity. So yes. And someone just asked me, does TD have a simulator? Yes, they have a simulator called Think Your Swim. So as your homework, it's already 7:51. I am kind of on time, so this is good. So as your homework, I want you guys to actually decide if you're going to open a brokerage account. The ideal would be to open one. If you already have one open, just make sure you go and look for your logins, because that's also a hindrance when you have an account, but you don't know how to get in. So go look for your logins, actually log into it, make sure you can do that so that by day 4, which is Thursday, you have that all planned. Or you can choose one of those top 5 and open an account with them. If you do not, okay, good. Sharon said she went back to Fidelity and it's good. If you do not want to open a brokerage account or you don't want to fund one, then I have one more option I want to show you. There is a simulator that I also like, and it's called TradingView. Now, TradingView is another way for you to do paper trading, but you don't have to fund it because it's not a broker. At the brokers that I just talked about, those top 5, they're most likely going to ask you to open the account with some type of money. So you'll have to put $500 in, or I put $2,000 into TD Ameritrade. You don't have to put that much, but that's how much you need to get margin trading. So I funded it with $2,000. But if you don't have that, then you can also come here for our challenge, because the goal is that I'm teaching you how to do it. So I just want you to have something where you can take these trades with us on Thursday and Friday. Okay. On here for TradingView, so it's going to ask me to sign in, but I'm going to do it the way that you all would do it. So where it says get started, click there at the top. It's going to give you these prices, but you don't need to do that. You can do the free one. So see, try free basic. You can actually do that one. You can also click up here at the top right where it says sign up, and then just sign up with your Google or account, or put in your own Gmail, and it'll take you to the basic one. So this is how you can actually use a simulator to also practice with us. A couple cool things about TradingView. Come on now. Now I'm signed in as me. But a couple cool things about TradingView is I really like their news. They have these snapshots and they're kind of playful. Like here where it says like S happens. What other broker has that on their website? So they're like, keep track of our daily snapshots of the crypto and stock markets. And they'll put up just snapshots of important things that happened. Last week, one of the big snapshots I liked a lot was about Visa, because Visa had their earnings and had shot up. But before that, they had actually shot down. So this was really helpful. Here, see? This was the one I looked at last week, the Visa earnings. But they do these little snapshots, and you can come in here, get a little bit of information. So I like this about this broker. Another thing I like about them is their charting. There's 2 tools that I really like that they have. One of them is this tool here. I know you all are beginners, so you don't need all of this, but I'm just showing you because we're talking about brokers. One tool that I really like is they have this tool here that allows you to calculate reward to risk. in the trade and travel class, anytime we take a trade, we know what is our potential reward on this trade and what's our potential risk. Well, you can move this and then actually see like, okay, if this is where I'm getting into the trade and this is where my stop is, then it will actually tell you that this is the amount here. The reward to risk on this is 0.23. You're going to look for 3 to 1. So you're going to want this to be, well, it's a little different because we use the other way. I'll show you this in our class, but you're going to like be able to see the reward to risk here. You'll see the profit to loss with this tool. So like say the target was here at $6.49 and you got in here at $97. So now it'll say, well, this, you actually would make $1,200 on this. Right? And then now here, the risk to reward is 1.2. So we would flip this around a little bit in our trade and travel side. But I really like this tool because this will calculate things for you. Okay, that's cool. For everybody who's in my class, this is something cool from TradingView. Another thing that I like, let me delete this, is this replay. So in trade and travel, we actually also look at what happens to stock price over time. But they have this replay where you can actually click a candle and it'll pretend that it was that you went back to that day. So this is December 20th. And right now this is January. So this is back last year. And then you can play and it'll actually show you what happened the next days. And you can kind of practice all of your trading with this tool. So say, for example, I had put in, I'm going to pause it for a second. Say, for example, I had put in a trade here, and I'm waiting for the next time it comes back here. I could play this replay and see if the candles ever came back to that place and how long it took and what the stock actually did. So you could really practice and get some practice in using this tool. Bam, look at that. And let's see if it popped up. Nope, went down. But you can actually do some practice with that tool. So TradingView is a really nice simulator. And what you would do on here is once you decided to take a trade, you would come down to the bottom here where it says paper trading, press connect. And someone is on here writing. But you would press connect and now you can actually place a paper trade. So this is a tool if someone says, okay, I don't want to open a brokerage just yet because I don't have time, then you could come here to, stop sharing for a second. You could come to TradingView. So do you guys see that? So there's two tools. I'm gonna come back to the gallery real quick. Give me a thumbs up if you understand the two tools. Trade, I keep saying TradeStation because that's what I use for so long, but TD Ameritrade. And then if you don't want to open a broker, TradingView. Okay, great. Thank you, DA. I see your thumbs up. Good. So that's the homework for tonight. The homework for tonight is I want you actually to go open a brokerage account if you don't have one. And if you, like I said, if you feel like I don't really want to open a brokerage account just yet, and I'll come to your questions in just a second, then at least go and sign up for an account with TradingView so that you'll be ready to go when we start taking trades. But put a comment in the chat if this made sense, if this gave you a little bit more clarity on brokerages and opening your brokerage account. Okay, good. I'm seeing lots of yeses. Yes, it did. Yes, good. Makes sense. Perfect. You can look at that article as well to see why the beloved TradeStation didn't make the list, or why your company didn't make it. And they give like just a little description of the other top companies that just didn't make the top 5. And personally, I'm not going to move all of my accounts from TradeStation. I'm probably going to leave those as is because I've been using them for so long, but I'm excited that I'm trying something new. And it's one of the top 5. So it'll be cool to just see what TD Ameritrade has to offer. And it might be something that you guys want to do too. Like maybe you try Fidelity or a different broker as well, just to see what the different tools are.